Becky and today I'm going to be showing you my haul from YALC. I was lucky enough to go for all 3 days this year and it was my first time going, so I think I went a little bit overboard in how many books I bought. I bought just over 30 books I think. First book I have to show you is The Falconer by Elizabeth Moat. This is a great book that's set in Scotland. It's all about fairies and fae, and it's got that great magical element in a kind of high society Scotland, which also has kind of a steampunkish element with the kind of contraptions and inventions that they have. I read it this morning. I've loved it so much and I would recommend anyone to buy it as well. I picked up this copy of Stranger the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I've obviously heard so many things about it and I've been putting off buying it because I didn't want to be disappointed by too much hype of a book, as I initially thought maybe it wasn't for me, but because so many other people both on Twitter and while I was at the stall were like, oh, you should buy it, you'll love it from other books that I've read, I decided to pick this up. I also picked up Flame in the Mist by Renee I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Obviously this is another book that's been hyped up a lot. I've also got the second book ready and waiting for me on my Kindle, so I knew I needed to pick this one up anyway, and I am quite excited to read it because I actually really love this cover and I think I actually like it more than the original hardcover. Next I got The Graceling by Kristen Cashore. I've heard nothing but good things about this. I know loads of people who I look up to in terms of book reviews because we read very similarly have loved this book, so I'm excited to get into it. So I bought both of these books from the authors who had a small stand at YALC. The first is The Dark Queen by Josephine Boyce and the second is Wonder Kids by Jacqueline Sylvester. I was initially taken in by The Dark Queen and then I also saw Wonder Kids next to it and they both kind of caught my fancy, so I'm happy to read them and see how they are. They are quite big books as well, so it might take me some time to get to them, but they both looked really interesting. I was lucky enough to get this free copy of Three Dark Crowns in this gorgeous red spine copy of it. I've heard so many good things about this book and its sequel, and I know lots and lots of people were really excited about it when it first came out. So I'm really excited to also get into it. I was lucky enough to get a hold of the Penguin yearbook, which I thought was quite cute. It's got loads of samples in. It's got quite a few samples of books I wanted to read anyway, such as Catwoman, Soul Stealer, Dear Evan Hansen, Eva Mann, A Map of Days by Ransom Riggs, This Mortal Coil by Emily Savada, and yeah, everyone thought it was really cute that they had this because it's black sprayed edges, it's really nice and cute, and it's just kind of a little bit better than just loads of little sampling booklets. I also managed to get this arc of Beasts of Night. It came out last year and I was really intrigued when I was reading the blurb as to what it was about, so I'm quite excited to get this one. My favourite book of the weekend has got to be getting The Shadow Glass by Rin Chupeco. I hope that's how you pronounce the name. This doesn't come out till next year, but I've loved The Bone Witch and I've still got Heart Forger to read, but Lauren keeps yelling at me to read it now, so I'm probably going to get around to reading both of those books really soon. Next I have Sweet Black Waves by Christina Perez. This was one of those books that when you pick up at first you don't really think of anything of it, but then when you read the back you're like, okay, now I want to read this. I'm really glad I picked this up as apparently it is quite good. I've looked it up on Goodreads and it's had some good reviews, and from people that I'm friends with on there have also enjoyed it, so I think this is going to be a good one. And then I also got Emily Eternal by M.G. Wheaton as an ARC. This was in a, if you buy 2 books you get a free book from Escape, and this was the one that was there. I don't really know much about it, but it comes out next April and I mean it just looks pretty, so I'm going to see how it goes with this one. On my second day I bought a lot less books than I did my first. I managed to I talked to loads of people on the second day and I was told that they actually started dropping prices to the books, so I tried to be a little bit better with my spending habit. But the first book I had to get was The Island by M.A. Bennett. As you can see, I've already started reading it because I really loved her first book, Stags. She's great at writing like YA thrillers that are actually thrilling and are exciting, and there's kind of a mystery there that you want to find out. I'm only 90 pages in and I'm kind of intrigued as to what's going to happen here. It's the next book I got was, I bought The Lost Witch from Waterstones, and with that you got a free book from The Stand that was by Melvin Burgess. So I've got Blood Tide as well. I remember reading Burning Izzy when I was very, very, very young, and I really liked the book, but I didn't really read anything else by Melvin Burgess. So I was really intrigued by The Lost Witch because it's kind of the first fantasy book he's done in a while, and then Blood Tide was out of the free books, it was the closest one that I could really see myself getting into, as I'm not really a contemporary reader. I also bought a copy of To Kill a Kingdom because even though I've already read it and loved it, I didn't have a physical copy with me, and Alexander Christo was actually signing that day, so I managed to get it signed by her. I also had a bit of a fangirl session during one of the panels because I had sat down and she had came and sat right next to me. It took me about 10 minutes to realise, but then I was trying really hard not to like ask her any questions or fangirl over her afterwards. I also bought the first in the Spellslinger series from Hotkey Books. I have heard nothing but good things about this. I read the teaser on Readers First and really liked it, and then I just never got around to like getting it. But the whole series on sale. I didn't manage to pick up all of them on time before they sold out, but I got this one instead. And then I managed to get a beautiful, beautiful arc of Beneath the Citadel. I was really excited to get this because I'd heard that it was going to be there a few days before, and it's one of the books that I knew that I was going to like, so I'm quite happy that I managed to get a copy. On my third day, it was, I bought quite a few books as soon as I turned up because of a bad influence, and then I waited until the afternoon, and after lunch I went a little bit crazy with my buying habits. I think out of all the books I got, I think I got half of the books on my third day. I went a little bit overboard. The first book I got was Blackheath by Gabriella Lenore. This was on the Uptown stand, and I don't know, it's a small book, it was cheap. I kind of thought I'd like it. I have already read this, and it is kind of very reminiscent of like the Hush Hush and Fallen books, but it is kind of an easy laid back read, which is nice in comparison to the big fantasy books I love reading. I also managed to get Palom by L.L. McNeil. I've been talking to Lauren for well over a year. I read her debut book and I loved it. This is her second book. I've actually already read an e-arc, but she gave me a signed copy when I was there. She's just really lovely, and if you haven't read her first book, you should definitely go and read it. If you have read her first book but not this one, you should go read this one, and just in general go follow her on Twitter or something because she's such a lovely person. I then bought the first free in, I think it's called the Summoner series. Yeah, the Summoner series, which is The Novice, The Inquisition and The Battle Mage by Taran Matharu. I'm not sure how you pronounce the name, but I've heard loads of good things about this series, and they were selling for like 3 for £5, so I thought that was a good deal. So the next book, people are probably going to complain that I haven't already read it, but it's Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I know lots and lots and lots of people have really liked this book and really like her as an author, so I was intrigued as to what the hype was about, even though I don't really know what happens in the book at all. Nothing's been spoiled to me yet, which I guess is a good thing. Another book which I've heard nothing but good things about is A Touch Against the Night by Sabah Tahir. Is that how you pronounce the name? This is the second book in the series. I need to pick up the first book as well. I am going to do that at some point, and this was going really cheap on the Harper stand. Again, they've dropped the prices and they were running out of books, and this was like my final one to get. Hotkey Books were giving away Arcs of You Only Live Once. So this is how I got this one. Comes out this month. I think it might already be out now after filming this. And it's just kind of a cute contemporary. It's a bit different than what I'd normally read, but apparently it's really, really good. I also got Grace and Fury. I've heard good things about this. It's a fantasy book. It's short as well, so it's one of those easy reads for me when I'm in between big books. And it sounded really interesting. I also managed to pick up my first ever Joe Abercrombie book. I've heard nothing but good things about Joe Abercrombie's books. He's great at writing fantasy apparently, and I just decided to go for it when I saw this on the YALC stand. I also got Blood in the Mist, which, as Stevie from the YALC was telling me, is the first book that was the foray into fantasy. This was written, I think it was 30 years before Lord of the Rings, and it is apparently a really, really good book. One of the books I got from the Harper stand was the Blood Print. I've been looking into buying this for quite a while. It's something that I think I would really like. I'm hoping I'm right about this. Plus it's just a beautiful, beautiful cover. If you can see all of the little details it has on it, it's just really cute. I also picked up Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. Again, it's one of those books that's been really hyped, but I don't really know much about it, so I can't say what it's about. But I do like Veronica Roth's writing. I think I read the first 2 Divergent books and I really like them. One of my favourite books I got all weekend was Heart of Thorns by Brie Barton. I saw everyone getting in their Fairy Leap boxes not that long ago, so I'm excited that I now have a copy as well. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous book, and it has a really great premise that I'm excited to jump into. I also got the second book from Carolee Bates called The Memory of Fire. I love The Waking Land, and I was excited to see the second book on sale there, as I only finished The Waking Land I think in a few months ago, so this is one of those things that I was looking forward to reading anyway. So overall I got 33 books in 3 days, which is quite a lot, but I'm hoping to get through most of them pretty quickly. I'm already on my 3rd book out of them. I'm sure I can get through loads of them, as I will be going back to uni in September and I'll have a lot more time. Thank you guys for watching, and please let me know if any of the books I've bought have been good or bad for you, as I want to know which books I should start on first.